Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are in the beginning of Q4, which is absolutely, in my opinion, going to be an exciting time. We're going to go over some of what is going on in the environment tonight, dispel some of the FUD that's out of there. And at the end of this, we're going to talk about exit strategies and just plans in a system in that macro view as we prepare to go into Q4. And we're going to see some ETFs drop, in my opinion. We're going to talk about that and all the other stuff that is going on and talk about the actual market and where we see things going. Now, with that, again, thank you for all the subscribers. Please continue to like, share this stuff out because we are absolutely early in this crypto journey. Yes, some of us have been here for years and years, but it's still early. If you are brand new, I hope you can take from this some of the excitement and understand what you are invested in when we talk about XRP and we talk about XLM, HBAR, real world utility that is going to be utilized to transform and is being utilized to transform the financial infrastructure going into the future through tokenization, through movement of money. But before we get into that, let's look at the markets real quick. And right now we're seeing Bitcoin at about $117,000, XRP right at about 293 right there, Cardano 84 cents, Stellar 39 cents. As you can see, these markets are still good buying opportunities. Again, and we are going to talk about that on the back end. What is, in my opinion, smart investment strategies to absolutely, make life-changing profits in the future. And as always, nothing I say is financial advice. This is just Zip's journey through this, and I'm sharing it with you. Now, with that, let's jump into some of the news that's going on out there. You probably heard by now, this is one of the bigger news pieces that came out yesterday. David Schwartz, the Ripple CTO, is going to be stepping away at the end of this year after serving as the CTO for 13 years. Congratulations to him. This is what we all aspire to. We aspire to have a purpose, to be generally enthused, and then go out on top. He has provided so much great technical capability and has absolutely been a mentor to many, many folks. So we wish him the best of luck. Now with that, of course, the FUDsters are going to come out. If you're invested in XRP or if you hate XRP, of course, this, the FUD that's going on out there is he's leaving because he knows Ripple and XRP are worthless. Well, contrary to that, while he's leaving as the CTO role, he is moving up to the board of directors, which really means he's moving to a higher place, and he wants to be able to spend time with his family, his grandkids, and he has dropped the hints that he is still going to be involved with crypto and digital assets. But again, that's the news out there, and the caution there is don't, buy into the FUD. And we know we have a historical relevance of what Ripple is doing, what XRP is going to be doing. And as it's been stated before, even if while David's walking out, even if Ripple bailed on XRP, yes, they have been leading the charge and utilizing XRP, but the XRP ledger will continue to live. And as we're seeing with all the DeFi capability that's coming in through Flare and a lot of the other projects, it would continue to live. But with that, we wish David the best of luck and look forward to see what happens throughout Q4 as he gets ready to exit Ripple as the CTO. Other news going on now, this is big. Scoop out here from Eleanor Torrett. The SEC had asked many of the issuers that put out ETF 19B4 filings to pull those back. Many of those are XRP, filings. That directive, came out basically because now the SEC has approved generic listing standards, which replace this case by case and this delayed, what has taken months and months previously to allow ETFs to drop even quicker. This is absolutely, again, dispelling the rumors, all right, and not overhyping this at the same time. I like to be right in that middle sweet spot, but far from a setback. This is absolutely just simplifying the way that approvals can get done through S1 registrations, removing all these fixed, deadlines and all the complication, enabling, giving us faster launches, potentially, within days if the financial institutions and have met all of the requirements. This is absolutely great news because we know how many XRP ETFs are out there that were waiting for approval in October. So we'll see what happens with this. But remember, the SEC has been modernizing how they look at this crypto environment. They are absolutely putting a thaw under the lead of Paul Atkins, changing and approving how things are getting done in a more efficient manner. And this absolutely increases the odds for almost ETFs to be approved 100%, accelerating that access for mainstream, as we've been talking about, with what the ETFs are offering. Remember, it's going to be an easier on-ramp to actually acquire these assets or have at least exposure to the assets. Unlike you and I, many of us that prefer to hold our own custody and hold our own XRP, there'll be an avenue for this, for the individuals out there to be able to come in, have exposure, and with the spot XRP ETFs, they have to buy XRP. And that's why we talk about the supply crunch that is possible when all of this comes into formation. Again, we're into October now. It's getting into be the fun time. And traditionally, October through December has always been great for digital assets. With that, we'll keep our eye on that and we'll see what happens with that. Now, more breaking news coming from the SEC. Again, these are just points in time, watching that flywheel increase and become faster and faster because they are changing the way that the financial infrastructure, the financial markets work. This breaking news here, SEC considering allowing stocks to trade on chain with plans to launch quickly. This is absolutely massive. This is tokenization of all of Wall Street. This is what we've been talking about, and this is what we want to see. Remember, there's not just going to be one winner out there. This is going to be an interoperable world, which we're going to talk about a little bit more here in a minute, but many chains, many are going to be winners out there. Yes, there will be some that win more than others, but it's not going to be one coin, one crypto project takes them all. There's so much FUD out there, and you just got to kind of look through the noise, stay with your plan, stay with your purpose and whatever you're investing in, and just keep that positive mindset. But this is absolutely exciting because it's validating, as it states here, blockchain infrastructure for TradFi. They are coming together. I was reading an article out there and it's stating, they're looking to have this launched. The NASDAQ is looking to possibly have this launched by Q3 of 2026. That's why when we talk about this bull run and this environment and that traditional market cycle of 4 years, I don't think we're in that 4-year market structure anymore. Yes, we're going to have downs, we're going to have ups, but I think the market structure is absolutely changing, and that's why Q4 is going to be exciting going into 2026. And I just listen to folks that are a lot smarter than I am, and it makes absolute sense to me when we see information like this and stuff coming out as far as what is being changed. Think about the inflows that are going to be coming into the market. This absolutely signals regulatory validation of blockchain for finance, potentially accelerating institutional adoption of real world assets. That's what tokenization is. The SEC is drafting rules to permit tokenized versions of stocks to be traded on regulated crypto exchanges. This is an absolutely 180 shift to what we had to deal with And it's very exciting. And remember, patience is the key. These things take time, but it's all coming for those of us that remain calm, non-emotional, and we see that bigger macro picture and that future of where things are going. With that, there were some more, I saw this out here on X, and I can relate to this, as far as not hopefully having to sell all of our bag, which we're going to transition now and talk about exit strategy and really investing strategies as a whole, because I want to keep you locked on target. All right. I went through these emotional roller coasters where I was in one coin and in and out of it and then into another one. And it absolutely destroyed my portfolio. So I had to learn the hard way. Please don't learn the hard way. Take the lessons from myself and many other folks that have been in this environment for many years. But one of these exit strategies, I'm absolutely hoping I don't have to sell XRP or sell a lot of it. I would prefer to take tax incentive ways to be able to take a loan and leverage that and be able to keep that underlying asset. But we're going to talk about that. But I saw this out here and it absolutely resonates with me. If it resonates with you, put it in the comments. What are your plans from an exit perspective? Do you plan on exiting to fiat? Or do you plan on looking for other strategies to, tax incentive strategies, possibly loaning it out, staking it, other passive flows to where it doesn't cause a significant tax event? Now, with that, let's get into this here. And we're going to talk about investing and just my exit strategy. Now, remember, none of this is financial advice. This is just what I am choosing to do. You have to pick your own path in this environment. However, proven time in and time and again, these are proven investment strategies that just work. They just make a lot of sense with regards to when you're in these markets and how you're going to, invest and take profits in these markets. One, consistency over timing. Rather than timing, trying to pick that perfect moment, because you are never going to pick the top and you're never going to pick the bottom while investing in any market, but especially the digital asset market, the crypto market, but take regular disciplined investing trends to outperform attempts to time the market. Those of you that stay positioned in the market, we call that holding. Buy and hold. If you're not a day trader, don't get caught up in the trading trap, because most folks lose their butts. Take it from experience here, direct experience. I tried it and it's just almost impossible unless you have complete focus, and it's actually more work, but it's proven holding and being consistent over time in the markets matter more than timing the market. Keep it simple. Have a simple portfolio with some diversification, and what that does is it reduces complexity, cost, stress, and all that temptation to second guess yourself. We've talked about this over and over. Whatever asset that you decide to hold, if it's XRP, phenomenal. If it's XLM, great. HBAR, XDC, have enough skin in the game to actually, that when it pops, not if, when it pops, it actually can produce some life-changing event for you. If you're too diversified across the board and you're in 50 different coins, it's going to be very, very hard to earn any profit that really matters, unless you're talking about millions of dollars and you're some huge whale out there. I am speaking to normal people. I'm a normal person. I don't have millions of dollars invested in these markets or have the capability to. So just keep it absolutely simple, and don't over engineer what works and start chasing these exotic strategies. Be smart, be safe, keep the path, stay on whatever your system is. And automation helps maintain some of that discipline. What does that mean? Automating, contribute, contribution reduces reliance on willpower and emotion. Set it basically and forget it. If you have to walk away for a month, walk away. Don't look at the coin. Don't look at the markets every day. And it can just help you stay invested through those markets up and downs, because that's what we mean by being non-emotional. Just being very, very programmed and strategic and understanding what we own and where the future is going. That's what this news is about. Building that bigger picture to keep you positive, to keep you excited, to make sure you understand when XRP pops to $20, are you prepared for that? Or if it drops to $2, are you prepared for that? And patience. Patience is absolutely a virtue with wealth building. Wealth building is a long game. It's a marathon. It is not a sprint if you want to maintain that wealth and not just get rich one day and then 3 years later not have it. You know, there's going to be absolutely quiet periods, and returns feel slow. They feel boring. But when you look back over that long macro period, your returns, especially in this digital asset environment, are absolutely phenomenal. So be boring. I want to be as boring as possible. And risk comes from confidence and complexity. Again, we talked about this a little bit earlier here. The more you try to tinker with things and outperform the market, the greater the risk of emotional mistakes that's going to happen, higher fees, and underperformance, because you're FOMOing in, basically, fear of missing out. You're seeing the markets and you're making erratic mistakes. So just stay calm, collective, and cool. And these are proven strategies. Now, with that, my exit strategy, okay, this is mine. I do not know what your portfolio looks like, but let's think about the exit strategy. And when we're talking about exit strategies, I don't mean selling everything into fiat. There are going to be multiple plays out there, but this is my strategy because my portfolio is diversified. I'm not all in on one project or crypto. If you are, that's phenomenal, because this still works when we get to the next slide. But basically what I'm going to do, I'm taking as an example, we got XLM, we got HBAR, we got XDC. As the market starts to pop, I have certain exit levels that I am going to start to take profits out of. As an example, if XLM were to go to $3, and I have these things written down, that's part of that focus, so I don't become emotional. But I'm going to take 10% of what my bag is, of what my asset holdings are, and I'm going to take 10%. I'm going to buy back into XRP. I like XRP. I believe XRP, there's big things coming for XRP in the future, and I believe it is absolutely here, and it's going to put a dent in the universe. But again, this is my philosophy. Yours can be different. That's fine. It doesn't matter. The point is have the system in place. But as these assets start to move, I am going to take some of that profit off that I've been sitting in, and I'm going to move it into XRP to even build up that long-term bag, that asset portfolio even more. But here's the thing, we have to stay flexible. Things change and we got to move, we got to dodge and shift and move with the market. Next, I'm going to take some of that XRP, but here is the key with all of this. If you are going to exit these markets, I would recommend always maintain. For me, it's going to be 50% of whatever that portfolio amount is for any said crypto. All right. So I'm going to maintain 50% of that XRP, but I may exit some of the market as it starts to shoot up. What am I going to do with it? I'm going to have a purpose. You have to have a purpose for money. If you do not have a purpose for money, it will evaporate and it will just go somewhere, and you'll look back and you won't know where it went to. For me, the purpose, I've talked about this in the past, infinite banking, okay? I'm going to pull some of that and put it into my whole life insurance, my infinite banking solution, where it's protected. These policies have been around for hundreds of years, and I'm going to secure that capital in that environment and also allow 4 to 7% growth compounding for the rest of my life with the availability to take tax-free loans from it. All right. So yes, I'm going to pay taxes as I exit the market, but thereafter, I'm putting it into a vehicle that I don't have to worry about taxes and continue to compound that capital that I have coming out of that exit strategy. For other things, I may pay off some debt. Do we have a house that needs to be paid off? Or do you have cars, credit cards? Getting out of debt is absolutely key. You want to be out of debt, bad debt. I'll put it that way. Bad debt, credit card debt and stuff like that. So paying down some of this debt is absolutely a phenomenal purpose. That's Zip's plan. And also, as we talked about, I'm going to leverage crypto loans. Why? Because it's a tax-free event to where I can take some of my XRP or some of my other assets that I hold, go out and get a loan for it, cash, money, and then go and buy other assets with that, whether that be businesses or pay off debt, whatever the case is. We have to do the analysis, and you just have to look at the rate of returns and have that bigger picture, because that way, if I'm taking a crypto loan on my asset, I still hold that asset. So that asset is gaining value as all of this utility starts to come into the market. XRP is still going to continue to go up in price, even though I have this loan, and then I'm just going to pay that loan back. I'm going to get my XRP back into my pocket, and I've made money, basically free money at that point. These are all things that we'll be talking about. I just want to build that picture, that strategic outlook of things that are possible in the future. And then after that, this is really just phase 3. It's just wash, rinse, and repeat. I have all of these different environments to where I'm going to have the capability through my infinite banking, through a first lien HELOC. If you don't know what that is, look up a first lien HELOC. We have all this empty equity in your house. If you own a house, why not utilize it in a smart and efficient way? And also putting some of that into dividend income earning ETFs. Why? Because cash flow. I want cash flow coming in till then I can go out and maybe buy rental property, possibly invest in other new tech like AI, buy businesses, and also just help the world out and provide and give to charities as well. Now that's Zip's plan. That's the larger focus of what is going to be going on. But the point is purpose. You have to have a definiteness of purpose, especially with money, or it'll find somewhere to go, and it won't be in the places that are producing wealth, long-term generational wealth. That is what is coming to many of us that are sitting on these precious assets as we watch the SEC and the CFTC come together, building new regulatory environments. We're waiting on the Clarity Act as well. Yep, we're in a government shutdown right now. We live in a little bit of a dysfunctional environment. We all know that, but we're still waiting on that Clarity Act, because when that Clarity Act comes out and they get that through and it's approved, that is the runway and that is the roadway for all this other work that's going on. And while all this is going on, all we're doing is staying stable, we're staying smart, and we're just sticking with our basic, boring plan of buying and holding for the long term until we can implement our system, whatever that system is for you. But again, please continue to be safe out there, be smart. We're going to continue to bring you more content. We're going to talk about exit strategies. We've got Flare videos coming to you to talk about staking capabilities as well as the DeFi environment. If you choose, the choice is all yours. I'm just giving you some information, but it's absolutely a phenomenal time to be alive. This journey is so fun. If you understand and you have an expectation, a positive expectation of what the future is going to look like, your future is absolutely bright, and XRP and many of these other digital assets are going to absolutely change lives And I cannot wait until one day to be on the most beautiful beaches of the world with many of you as we build this community and we find folks that we resonate together. And with that, that reminds me, again, if you're still hanging on at the end of this video, I appreciate that. January, we're doing a meetup in Fort Lauderdale. Staple Crew is running it. You'll see it in the show notes. Reach out to that email that's in the show notes if you want to participate and come out and meet Alan, meet myself, and many other influencers are going to be there. But it's a networking event because, as I just stated, spending time together and networking together with the future generation of the 1% out there that are actually going to be the movers and shakers in the future. And that's what's exciting to me. But with that, until next time, Zip is out.